I was just talking about my experience. I have overall 14 years of experience, and I'm into network security plus cybersecurity domain from last 14 years. And if I talk about Palo Alto, so Palo Alto is more about a passion for me. So I've been handling multiple projects for FMCG, airlines, pharmaceutical, banking sector. For Palo Alto, we have migrated and deployed some of the key customers which are really onto the top of the world. They are ruling the entire world, and we have done the migrations and everything towards Asia Pacific, US, and EMEA. As far as my experience concerned in terms of cybersecurity, I do manage audits. I manage the solution architecting for the users. I suggest them we do the designing, do the technical reviews, and make sure that the customer go ahead and choose the best one. So that is overall experience I have. And as far as this training is concerned, so I'm a corporate trainer for many of the organizations which I do the corporate trainings. So if I talk about the online training, so I'm departing the training online as it's just a passion, not a professional, because I want that people whosoever is attending, everybody knows in depth. So we are not only concentrating onto the Palo Alto, it will be the entire enterprise, how it works and how Palo Alto can play a vital role into your career and into your organization. We have to see from both the perspectives, not only from a like your career perspective, how you can make sure that once you deploy Palo Alto, probably deploy any new product, what should be the strategy to go ahead with that. All right. Last but not the least, we'll try to go ahead with the use cases which is enterprise level, because I have handled some of the organization which has offices around 100 to 150 around the world. I have mixed flavor of handling different kind of customers, different kind of people, different working with different kind of network security architects, CIO, CTO, CISO. You name any person in the organization, I have tried working with or collaborating with everyone. So we'll try to use that use cases of my experience so that it will be more easier to have your growth into your future career. And slowly we'll have a short demo, and probably will, rather than it will be a discussion class, so that we can make sure that what exactly you will be getting out of this particular training and what is your expectation out of this, and probably we can have that final training accordingly, and we can set the timings or whatever you're looking for. So let's start with the like an introduction about the curriculum which we are going to cover. We will be covering a basic introduction which will be about the Palo Alto and how the architecture is there for the Palo Alto in depth, how the packet flow is there, how the traffic flow happens with the use cases, and with the different set of examples which we'll be trying to cover. And we'll try to understand how we can administrate the firewall very easily, how the configuration management is there, PAN-OS, what is PAN-OS, service route configuration, how the log forwarding happens. So this will be a building base of your Palo Alto. So we'll try to cover up that bit so that in case you are aware, you will have more in-depth of understanding in terms of your Palo Alto training. And then we'll move slowly towards how we can configure a new firewall. Let's take an example. You guys are there. You are probably setting up a new branch, or probably you are migrating firewall from Cisco Checkpoint or anyone. How you can just configure that out? What will be the strategy? How you can migrate that out? And what kind of modes are there, how can be deployed into an enterprise level. So that will be your like interface configuration, where we will try to cover your layer 2, layer 3, vWire, TAP, interface management, security zones, VLANs, QoS, and virtual system as well. So once you are more comfortable in understanding the deployment methods, which are different deployment method of your Palo Alto training, we'll try to go ahead and understand how we can deploy that into your production network. So basically your production network will be your layer 3. So layer 3 is nothing but your, where you can make sure that your firewall routes your traffic, and you can manage your virtual routers. So virtual router is nothing but a virtual routing instance which runs into your Palo Alto. So basically it's a backbone of your routing instance, where it makes sure that how the traffic need to move from firewall from one zone to another zone. We'll try to understand that as well. And along with that, we'll try to take some deep dive into NAT, which is a very crucial topic. So basically to understand Palo Alto. So many of your organizations are probably the current organization which you are working might not be using NAT, but NAT in Palo Alto is very crucial, because I have seen some of the big organizations where we have transformed. Earlier, they were using the NAT onto like router or any other devices, they have moved it to Palo Alto because NAT works very efficiently in Palo Alto, where you are terminating your connection for the external interface. You will have some public IP addresses and you send across your traffic. So we'll take some deep dive into this. And last but not the least, this is something where you will have understanding of module 0, 1, 2, and 3, which will give you a understanding of your layer 2 and layer 3 functionality of the Palo Alto. So where you will understand the firewall, how to deploy the firewall, how to migrate the firewall, how the basic configuration is there, and make sure that as a person, if I give you a firewall, you make sure that it is up and running into the environment. By this time, you will be able to make sure that you have that confidence to build up a new firewall or to manage the existing firewall. Then we will have your app ID, which is your next generation feature. We'll try to cover your app ID processes, which is your app identification. So, which is the main USP of Palo Alto, why Palo Alto is ruling the world. So that is where it comes into picture. And once we complete the 40% of the curriculum, so by this time, your 40% of curriculum or the deep depth of your Palo Alto will be covered, and you will start doing the labs for each and every step which we have done so far. So this will be the theoretical part till now, and there are some labs associated with this, which you will be covering with us, where you will have the setup for some hands-on, some scenarios. You will work on to some use cases, which is your production use cases, not the lab scenarios. It's actually enterprise use cases, which normally works into any of the organization, because this is the next generation feature, and we'll be covering most of the stuff into this. This will be the time taking process, so maybe 10 to 12 hours of class will be taking for up to 40% of your curriculum. As I just confirmed that till module 4, we need to make sure that you have gone through the concepts, you have understood the theory, which you have understood the backend, how your firewall works, how actually the architecture is working, how you can build up your use cases, how you can transform your firewall, how you can transit to your firewall, and then you will start doing the labs. And once you will complete your app ID, you will start getting labs. And after that app ID, there will be two things parallelly: lab and curriculum and review. So the pattern of study will change after module 4, because by this time you will become bit expert in understanding the things into depth. So the pattern of study will get changed here. Till this, we have to put a lot of effort to make sure that you understand each and everything. And once you are completed with this, we'll take a review, we'll do the labs, and we'll start with the curriculum forward. And I will give you some kind of, you can say, the homework, which will be like offline. You will be doing the work. We'll do it review online, and we'll complete the curriculum parallelly. So the pattern after the module 4 of study will get changed. So your involvement will start getting more. So we'll cover content ID, which is again your security feature and the next generation feature for your Palo Alto. So we'll try to cover antivirus, anti-spyware, vulnerability, URL filtering, file blocking, wildfire, and data filtering. So we'll try to cover in depth and understanding again as a part of use cases and like your production examples. So we'll not take up any of the lab examples. So I will try to utilize my experience, your experience, and the kind of organization you are working upon. By this time, we'll be comfortable with each other, how you work and what kind of things you are doing on to day-to-day basis. We'll try to take that examples. And I will make sure that if you are not able to understand one example, I will try to give you a very simple or layman example to make sure you understand that. We'll try to pick up 2-3 examples to make sure everybody understand that. We'll move forward towards the depth of your traffic flow, and which will be your SSL inbound and outbound traffic, which will be your decryption module. We'll cover that out, which is again a brain and the backbone of your Palo Alto. And then this module, which is mentioned as module 7, this is associated with your application ID or application identification module. So this I will be covering with that only. So I will not take up this 7 module. So it will be covered with a 4 module only together. And then you have your user identification, which will be, we will take a glimpse of user identification. So it will be just an overview, not into depth for this user. But then we will pick up like your VPN stuff, which will be your IPsec and SSL VPN. And last but not the least is your high availability. Okay, we'll cover high availability in depth again, how to make sure that you can have your high availability configured, and what are the parameters you can set for your high availability, your path monitoring, your layer 3 monitoring, layer 2 monitoring, or any of your likely your link monitoring. And once you are able to complete your like high availability, we will cover a panorama where we'll be covering up your device and groups objects, shared policy, how to configure that out, right? And config management, reporting, panorama, and implementation scenarios. So this will be your module 11, which will be a like 1 or 2 hours class to make sure that you have done a good review of the whatever you have understood till now. So so this is your PCNC certified curriculum, right? So the my curriculum, which is based, or the training is based onto the PCNC. So once you will go through this training, so you need to work some of the module by your own. I will try to provide some PDFs or some links which can really help you out to cover up your certification and make sure that you do your certification by your own, right? And the people who have been doing the training. So I was talking about the main module where I always try to emphasize a PCNC certified curriculum. So we'll try to take revision and the training assessment. We'll try to do the like day-to-day examples and the scenarios and troubleshooting techniques and dumps or configuration. So last but not the least, once we are able to complete the training, we'll talk about the certification path. So I don't want you to concentrate onto the certification first. I want that you should understand everything into the depth and then go for the certification once you have a clear knowledge. So what has happened is I have seen many of the people who are like I'm dealing with, because till now I have like gone through the online training for around 200 or 300 students, and I'm doing the offline corporate trainings as well for some of the MNCs. So what happens is certification and knowledge is altogether different. Certification doesn't mean that you have the knowledge, but if you have the knowledge, definitely it does mean that you can always pass the certification. So I have some of the people where I go for like training and probably have a discussion. They are PCNC certified, and they do not know how a traffic flow happen into Palo Alto. If I ask them and pick up an example, this is an enterprise level example that my system is there, and can you tell me how the traffic flow happens and what all things will come into picture, and in case you have to troubleshoot, my internet is not working, what is the way of getting troubleshoot, and probably where you will try to pinpoint. They do not know that out. So certification and the knowledge is quite opposite. So we'll concentrate onto the certification, but onto the last classes when you have got enough knowledge to pass your certifications by your own. And I will get you the PCNC study guide, which will help you from time to time whatever we are covering. So this was the curriculum which we are going to cover that out. So 2005, the Palo Alto has launched, right? So it is a next generation firewall which they have launched as, right? So what is next generation, right? So everybody was working on the firewall, which was your stateful firewall, which maintains your state tables of your connection. If I'm the user, I try to send my connection to the firewall. Firewall keeps my source address and port, and based on to my request, it makes the request on my behalf, right? So that was a trend in 2005 or like 2000 series. So what Palo Alto has done is, we'll move on to that. They have launched the next generation firewall, where people were only concentrating onto the source destination. Everybody was concentrating onto the source destination port or SPD or SDP. So what they have done is that instead of source port and destination, they have developed a firewall which can't only see the port, it can understand the way the traffic is moving, the pattern of the traffic is there, right? If let's take example, if SSL is there, which works onto 443, so 443 is the port, but SSL is your protocol, right? Basically, every firewall which was not the Palo Alto, they were concentrating onto the port level, not onto the protocol level. So basically, they have launched a firewall which has a application identification. They have developed an engine with a traffic flow mechanism. Whenever a traffic reaches to the firewall, it has a understanding or engine available which makes sure that any connection initiated, let's take example, Prabhakar has initiated a connection which is onto TCP 443. They have launched an engine which is app ID engine. It initiate as a normal firewall since it is your stateful instruction firewall.
No,
So
no
it will
problem.
look for source. port, and destination, right? So what they have
Yes.
done is they have added up, instead of looking into the port, they will look into the application. So on to 443, there are hundred of thousand of applications work, right? Your
Yeah.
Gmail also work, your Yahoo also work, multiple application. In a normal firewall, which was your Cisco or your checkpoint at that point in time, at in 2005, it was only looking for 443 packet. In case
Yeah.
your user is trying to access your Gmail, Yahoo onto 443, it is allowed by default because they were looking onto the port level only,
Absolutely.
right? They have launched an engine which can look into the packet and understand the behavior of your communication, right? If I'm trying to initiate a connection towards Gmail, based on to the pattern, based on to the protocol, based on to the analysis which they have done for the packet level, they have launched this application engine which has your four components. One is your SSL decryption. It was try to have your headers and look into the packet and try to decrypt if it is required. Protocol decoder, it will try to decode your protocol, that what protocol you are going on to. If you are working on to 443, it is SSL
Mm-hmm.
protocol. If you are going on
Mm-hmm.
to 1533, it is your Oracle, right? Or 1433, your SQL. So it
Yeah.
was not looking into the port, it was looking into the protocol, that how SQL works, okay, how Oracle works, how your
Mm-hmm.
Gmail works, how your Yahoo works. They have created a pattern, they have created a signature for each kind of your like application, and they have developed the engine which can read that out. So, as a
Okay.
normal firewall, if you have allowed 443, you can access each and everything onto 443, right? Gmail, Yahoo, YouTube, and everything. But Palo Alto has given an intelligence to the world, not to the customer, to the world actually. They have launched that out, that if I'm the user, if I do not have access to the Gmail, I try to access Gmail onto 443. Palo Alto has the intelligence to understand that this particular user is going a connection onto the 443, but he is going onto Gmail. Yahoo can be allowed for him on 443 as per the access policy, but Gmail is not allowed. YouTube can be allowed, but Yahoo cannot be allowed. So basically, they have launched a firewall which can understand the applications. It can be your business application, it can be your multimedia application, it can be your like a voice application, it can be your database application, everything. So they have created a database of your each application so that instead of looking into the port, they will look into the application. If the application is not allowed for the user, whether the port 443 is allowed for that user, but if the application is not allowed, it will drop the connection. That was the intelligence which was provided by Palo Alto in 2005 when everybody was looking into the port level only. So that is why it is
Okay.
called your next generation firewall, to be very frank
So,
and to be very in depth. So that is why the people have moved on to Palo Alto. The reason I tell you now, yeah, even I was there when I was working on Cisco. I have created an access list for my user. If I talk about 192, 168, 1.0, this is my subnet who is allowed to access 443. It means whosoever he is trying to access anything onto 443 is allowed. You do not know as an administrator who is accessing what. If Rajesh is there, is he trying to access Gmail? If Rajesh is there, is he trying to access 443 onto the YouTube? Or if Prabhakar is there, he is trying to download something onto the firewall. Because 443 is allowed, you can't inspect the connections into more depth. So it was only the stateful inspection which was happening onto the based on to your port. But your Palo Alto has given a intelligence
protocol in.
understand protocol inspection or probably the application inspection, which makes sure that you can restrict your user based onto the application, not onto the port. If you have allowed a 443 to the all the users, but you can make sure that what all application will be allowed to which particular user. If this particular subnet is there, these users are only able to access Yahoo, Google, and YouTube and DNS entry, nothing else. Even the 443 is allowed or 53 is allowed. Normally, BitTorrent works on to port 53, which is your DNS port. Palo Alto has given an intelligence if somebody is trying to make a connection onto 53, which is allowed, which is your BitTorrent connection. it can understand whether it is a BitTorrent connection or it is a DNS connection. If it is a DNS connection, it will allow. If it is a BitTorrent, we will discuss that in detail. We have a like deep module, but I'm trying to give you a differentiation between the last 15 years where Palo Alto has reached and what their thinking was when they have launched that kind of intelligence for the customer, that kind of intelligence for the people who are managing the firewall. You do not have to worry that if you have allowed a DNS, people are using BitTorrent as well. That kind of intelligence is available with the firewall. If you have allowed a DNS, it means if there is a connection of the DNS initiated by the user, it will be allowed. If any other kind of port or probably a connection is being made onto that particular port, that will be denied.
Using web sensors, I can control the users to whatever the web URL they want to access, right?
So ultimately, you have to have a one device extra. So in last 10 years, so what I have seen is people are there for Cisco. They are moving to Palo or probably a Checkpoint, depend
Yeah.
upon their need. There was WebSense, there was Symantec. So
Yeah.
we have all the features available of your WebSense, DLP, Symantec into Palo Alto. So wherever
Okay.
they were having subscription or your device was available, till the time they have used their devices, and we have removed the devices like WebSense, Bluecode, and Symantec out of the network of big enterprises. I'm not talking about small enterprises, but we have
Yeah.
removed these devices because
Oh,
once they have introduced Palo Alto, their WebSense was there available for 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is there. Once that time is over, so we have deployed your URL filtering, data filtering, DLP features, your decryption, your SSL offloading onto Palo Alto. Palo Alto can do each and everything.
If
Yeah, please go ahead.
Palo Alto will do such type of stuff, for example, URL filtering, web filtering,
Yeah,
so is there
yeah.
any cache over there, or still we require the Bluecode proxy?
No, you do not require. So Palo Alto Firewall can work as a forward proxy. You do not have to do
Yeah.
worry about that.
So is there any option for caching, something like that in Palo?
So forward proxy itself is a caching, right? So
Okay.
what is caching? So caching is nothing but like if I take a very good example to make you guys understand what a normal proxy works, right? So we are not talking directly, right? We are talking with the GoToMeeting. You have logged into the GoToMeeting. I have logged into the GoToMeeting. So my connection is going to the GoToMeeting server first. So the server on my behalf is sending you the request. In the same way, once you are talking, your connection is going to the GoToMeeting server, and I am receiving your packet. Right? That is your URL, your a proxy. Proxy is nothing but when somebody is making a connection on your behalf, right?
Yeah.
And once if any device is able to make sure that your state of the connection is available with the firewall, or probably the information is available with the device, so that is caching. So if I'm trying to send a request onto Yahoo, so my firewall will make sure, so it will take a cache or probably a connection table that
Yeah.
Rajesh is trying to make Yahoo,
Yeah.
and
I
in
got
I
your
connect
point.
back again to that Yahoo on, within 30 minutes or whatever the time period is. So it will not rebuild the connection, it will pick up the same state table. So
Yeah.
Palo Alto does have the feature and understanding to do that out.
So actually, you said that Palo Alto will work on layer 7, means good in layer 7 as well. Still, we
Yes,
require
yes,
the
yes.
ASM in our network. So
Yeah.
what exactly the role of ASM over here, and what exactly the role of Palo Alto will do on layer 7? Yeah.
Basically, you have the layer 7 device here, which works onto the web filtering and all. FID works onto layer 7. So whatever
Yeah.
this engine is working, it is working onto your layer 7. So your
Yeah.
layer 3 and layer 2 functionality is nothing but your source, port, and destination. So once you look into the application, so that is your layer 7. Your firewall as a layer 7 here inspect and make sure your connection works onto the application level as well. It looks into
Yeah.
the content as well of your connection. It looks into your data as well. It looks into if I give you a very simple example, let's take example here. If the connection is initiated like this, you have initiated a Gmail, right? So what will happen is first it will look for the source, which is your name or IP. Then it will look for the destination where it is trying to reach, which is your Gmail, which is your 443 and as a application. It will look for the port and the application, and then it will look for the content. If you're going to the Gmail and your policy is allowed, what exactly you are trying to do in the Gmail, it can look into that detail as well. So basically, your firewall can deal with each and everything, right? You can do the
Yeah.
URL filtering. It can use your layer 2 and layer 3 functionalities. It can do the
Yes.
content. That was I was trying to explain. So it
Correct.
can look a packet from layer 2 till layer 7, or
Yes.
the
Yes.
entire TCP/IP packet. So
Yeah.
you do not see, ideally, if you have ASM, probably in next 1 or 2 years, till the time your device is getting end of life, you do not require ASM after that,
Okay.
because your Palo Alto itself can do your all the stuff which your ASM is doing. That is what I am saying. So Palo Alto is not only replacing the firewall; it is replacing your multiple devices, which is your multiple layers, like your Blue Code, your WebSense, your DLPs, your Sventic, your decryption devices. That all it is doing.
What is ASM? Like ASM, it's a kind of a web sense.
It's actually you can say the web load balancer, or basically looking for your web-based application.
So you can filter the URLs and all those stuff.
You can't only filter the URLs, but you can load balance and make sure that if the DNS request is coming, to which server it can make sure that it can forward the request. To that extent, as well, it can do as a
Yeah, it can be do on a GTM, but ASM is a module which work on the F5 as well. It's working on the vulnerability assessment part as well.
good you have raised that. So even you can do the vulnerability assessment as well in Palo Alto. No offense to any device, right? I'm not saying that if I'm like doing the Palo Alto, that's why I'm appraising that out. This I've learned from last 10 years due to my experience. Slowly, Palo Alto has made convinced as a administrator, as a customer, as an enterprise. See this example where I have tried to differentiate between a normal firewall, which it was working before as a stateful inspection firewall. So as a normal connection, so anybody tried to access as a source and a destination. This was your stateful inspection firewall, which makes or understand your connection on the base of your source, port, and destination, and it maintains a state table. But your Palo Alto has the advanced feature or next generation feature where they have launched your app ID. So it will not only look for the connection where Tapan or Prabhakar or anybody else is trying to make a connection onto 443. If Tapan doesn't have access to Gmail, still he has access to 443. His Gmail will not work. His only Google will work onto HTTPS, or Yahoo will work. That kind of differentiation we can do from a user level, from a subnet level, from a branch level, from a geography level, from a continent level, or from a different data center level. So that we can do. So any questions into this to understand? So basically, your Palo Alto is more of your application-based firewall, which works onto the stateful inspection along with your understanding of your app ID.
Many firewalls are next generation firewall. So
Yes.
let me just give you example of
Good question.
checkpoint.
Yeah, that is
If
next
I
generation firewall. Even
yeah
your
so
Cisco is now launched your next generation firewall, right?
Yeah,
yeah
And
source
your
fire.
yeah so if we
everyone is now
enable
next generation.
those features like URL filtering, content filtering,
Yes,
and other stuff on
right,
that firewall,
right, right.
then I just want to differentiate between Palo Alto and other firewalls. Means what
Good,
extra?
good. So there is no extra. So I tell
Okay.
you a very simple thing. Okay. So as I told you, they have launched everything into 2005 when everybody was working into source, port, and destination. So that is the first thing. What makes them different? The way the traffic flow happens for this next generation feature. Other devices like your FTD, your checkpoint, Palo Alto has a SP3 architecture. We will discuss in understanding. So SP3 is nothing but your single pass parallel processing architecture. So single pass parallel processing architecture, what does it says? Once the packet enters into the firewall, okay, in the one level only, it will look for the source, port, destination, address, content, data, URL, encryption, decryption, netting, everything into one policy. Okay, so I have given the abbreviation for everything. We'll discuss that in detail, but this gives into a one policy only. However, your other firewall, which is your next generation firewalls, because no firewall is now not next generation, because since Palo Alto has launched, after that everybody has started working onto that. No other firewall does the operation like this, which is so smooth. First thing. Second thing is, if talk about checkpoint, you have the blade system. You do not have a transparent passing of your traffic flow. If you talk about your Fortinet, again you have the different modules which need to be enabled. If you talk about the Cisco, again you have the different firewalls. FTD module is different. Your layer 2, layer 3, or the other application module is different. If you talk about the like URL filtering, if you have to do into the other devices, you have to add up some additional licenses, additional scopes. Here also you need the additional license, but the traffic which is being maintained, right? So this is being done by single policy. That is the differentiation between this particular firewall and the other firewall in terms of the traffic flow, how
Okay.
smooth it works. That is the main difference. And this is altogether a Bible. This is not a simple term to go till this depth. So normally Palo Alto works like this. So everything is linked. You will go into the deep depth like this. So this is a sea starting, and you will go into the depth of the sea slowly. And everything is linked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in other firewalls, it is like your kind of blades or a kind of modules and everything. So it is all interlinked into the Palo Alto, and still they are the best due to that reason. The architecture makes Palo Alto different. These are three users different. Is there, Prabhakar is there, Namit is there. Now, for everyone, port 80 is open. So this is a source and this is a destination where they're trying to access something, whatever it is. So this is a firewall. So now if it is there, so port 80 is open, right? Normally, if I'm trying to access Yahoo Messenger as an application, it works on to port 5050. So firewall has the intelligence to understand I'm not going to any connection which is on port 80. It is your Yahoo Messenger which is not allowed for me. So my access will be blocked. Now Prabhakar is there. He is trying to access a proxy site or probably a site which is available or onto the HTTP. So this port or the application matches for his access. So his access will be allowed. Now Namit is there. He's trying to access something onto the BitTorrent client which works onto your port 606081. So it has the intelligence and make sure that out of three accesses, only one access is allowed, two accesses are denied based on to the application which are not allowed to the user. If I try to access proxy or probably a application which works onto 80, so my access will be allowed. And the same way, the access which is actually working onto port 80, it will be allowed. You can go to Yahoo Messenger, HTTP, yahoomessenger.com. That is also HTTP, right? But actually, in the backend, it works onto different protocol, different uh, port, which cannot be done into the other firewall. So that is the main differentiation. Again, how you can manage your different user efficiently with the intelligence. You do not have to spend a lot of time into managing your user level access. You can spend your time into managing your firewall, making your organization more secure, making sure that your policies are up to mark. There are no vulnerabilities, there are no viruses into your enterprise, into your risk assessment. You can definitely, your Palo Alto can help you out. It will give you a reporting so efficient way that each and every user, what Rajesh is doing, what Prabhakar is doing, what Namit is doing, you can have a separate report for each and every user, or maybe a top 10 attacks, top 10 URLs, everything you can fetch from a single firewall, single dashboard. So that is not available into the other firewalls because they have the multiple modules need to fetch them. This is one single firewall, whether that is VM or whether that is your physical firewall.
For reporting part, is there any separate license in Palo Alto or?
Nothing. You don't have to get any license. So it is by default. So you
Okay.
can have the reporting, which is very good reporting. So as I said, so there are three guys. Let's take example. I can take a report of three guys what they have done in entire day. entire month, entire week. They have tried any site which are not used as per their work. This gives a good confidence to the customer that my employees are doing the work efficiently. As a administrator, as a cybersecurity administrator, once I present the report to CIO, CTO that this is the overall health of the organization where 20,000, 50,000 users are there. This is their reports, how they are doing. And this is how much bandwidth they are consuming, which website they are going, whether we have any dashboard which shows the antivirus virus, this has been stopped. It gives a lot, much confidence to the customer to make sure that everything is on to the point. That is the reason and answer to the question, like everybody is moving to the Palo Alto, right? It gives me confidence. While I deploy as an engineer and as a architect, it gives me a customer satisfaction that yes, these policies are being up and running and this company is secure, where I have so much granular detail to look upon. And from a point of view, this is being done by the firewall. The main point is this: you just give a simple input and the output is very much beautiful, which you want to get out of this. So if you see, we will have a very interactive training, not kind of bore, or probably I will just give you some slides or probably where there are a lot of things written and probably you will not get out of that. So we'll try to understand from a depth of each and everything, why there is a significance of each and everything. If there is a traffic flow, how the traffic flow is happening, how the packet is being created, where and when the packet is being done. So let me give a quick differentiation again. So this is just a like a refresher kind of slides, which gives you a understanding how firewall works, how firewall understand the packet, how the traffic flow works, and all the stuff, so that you can have a basic understanding about the security. So this we are trying to understand here. In a normal firewall, which is your traditional firewall, which sees web browsing. So anybody can tell me the web browsing, it works on 280. Your web browsing works on 280 or 443. Your normal traditional firewall looks for your port 80 and 443. You do not know what is being accessed onto 443 and 80, due to which your colleague or your customer can go to the data which is maybe vulnerable. They can go to the malicious site, they can download some virus, they can access some maybe porn sites, maybe game sites, everything. Nowadays everybody works on to 443, 80 and 443. So that kind of gaming, pornography, adult, maybe hacking, anybody can access anything onto the 443, right? But the intelligence available with the Palo Alto, you can differentiate your traffic. We call it as a traffic classification as well. To classify or bucketizing the traffic, so let's take an example. So what bucketization is? So in your organization, there are users who are accessing business site. There are users which are accessing media site, who are accessing your voice site, who are accessing your messenger site. So everything work on to 80 and 443. Once you put into the bucket, different buckets, right? This particular traffic is a normal traffic for anyone. So once you try to bucketize, this is your business traffic, this is your media traffic, this is your Yahoo traffic, this is your media and your voice traffic. We call it as a traffic classification. Classification of traffic is nothing but your application identification as well. We call it as a app ID as well. So app ID also do the traffic classification. Let me give you a very silly example to understand this. You have a bucket of water, which is your entire traffic into the organization. So one bucket of water at your home, you use it for your garden as well. You use it for your like probably the kitchen space. You can use it for your outside home. You can use it for your toiletries. There is a one water only, which is entire traffic. Classification into the different bucketization or the different uses is your application identification. And now you need to decide as an enterprise or as a customer that which should be allowed, which should not be allowed as a policy. So here you are allowing a 443, but you are making sure on 443 only business applications are allowed. No media applications are allowed, right? Nobody can send any data, critical data of your automobile industry or your designing industry or your pharmaceutical industry or your probably IT industry, send to your friend. Let's take example. Namit is my friend. He works into a credit card industry, which is your financial services, right? He tried to send the credit card information of all the customer to me on the Gmail. How you can prevent that out? Either you should have intelligence available like WebSense or any other DLP, but here without a DLP, you can just prevent onto the basis of application that you have not allowed Namit to send any Gmail request. You're getting my point, and that is only difference how the Palo Alto is ruling the world. So for the other firewalls, you need to add up some additional device, but here you have the different engines available who can take care of your security in depth. So we call it as a DPI as well, deep packet inspection. So once you do the deep packet inspection, you can have your security, multi-tier security. And you do not need to enable anything. It is just a one policy. You need to make sure that you allow that or disallow that. That is the simplicity from a management point of view. In your media organization, let's take an example of Facebook. Depending upon your industry, you allow or disallow the connectivity, right? In your media industry, which is your, or maybe a Yahoo or your Facebook or any, you can't stop media, that is their business. So you need to first understand the industry, what kind of industry you work in, and then you have your organization policy. So Palo Alto gives you a very wide range of available industry policy. Like if you're working into financial services, what kind of application you can allow or disallow, and further you can do your organization level policy. So basically you need to understand the industry first to make sure that what need to be allowed and what need not to be allowed, and make sure that how the security can be taken care into depth. So I'm not allowing juice.com, I'm not allowing Mebo.com, I'm not allowing Gmail, I'm allowing only Salesforce along with my business application, so that my unknown threads are automatically stopped. So if somebody do not go to the Gmail, so he or she will not be able to send my sensitive information. Let's take an example. I am working into defense industry, and somebody send my design to my competitor or probably a military militant group. So what is going to happen? So my sensitive data has gone out. So other firewalls are not able to prevent that kind of information in so easy way with a simple policy and with a simple engine, because classifying the traffic here, and we are bucketizing the traffic before only as a organization policy, that what we are going to allow, what we are going need not to allow that. This was just introductory information to know about Palo Alto, differentiation between the Palo Alto, how traffic flow works, what is the traffic classification. We'll discuss that each and every module into detail. Basically, you are into network, you are handling the firewall, right? But
Yes.
Palo Alto firewall is more into cyber. So there is a difference into network, security, and cyber, right?
Okay.
It is a mix and match of everything, network as well, security as well, and it takes care of your cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is nothing but which take care of your data, which take care of your sensitive information, which take care of your entire end-to-end flow, right? So when I will be imparting the training, right, I will make sure that you guys understand each and every aspect. If there is a network part of it, I will try to deal with it. If there is a security part of it, I will try to delete it. If there is a cyber part of it, I will try to delete it. Now the point here is everybody comes from a different type of background, different type of industries, different type of experience, right? Somebody have 5 year experience, somebody have 6 years, 10 years, or whatever. So I will try to give you some supporting links which you need to go offline, right? So that will help you to come to the level which actually needed for PCNC. That was my point. I understand you all guys are professional, you have good experiences, no offense to that, but to make sure that you can easily understand each and every aspect and make sure that you can go ahead with the PCNC certification, I will try to help you in each and every way. And make sure once you pick up any assignment in your organization, you do not look only from this point of view. I have to create one access list onto the firewall. See, anyway, there will be a simple access list only or probably a policy onto the firewall, but what is the flow behind the policy, why that policy is required, okay, what are the risks associated with that particular policy, whether any unknown ports are required asked by the user, what application are being accessed, what kind of sensitive data is going out of the organization. That kind of analysis and understanding you should have while you work onto any access. That kind of level we want to build up from an enterprise level, not from just engineer point of view or a security architect point of view just to work onto the firewall. We need to look from an entire enterprise level, that if I'm doing something or somebody is requesting something, so what is the entire significance. So we'll try to make sure that we create a blueprint for each and everything and then implement onto the firewall. So first we create a blueprint onto a pen and paper or a documentation, then implement onto the firewall. Thanks very much, guys.